Hey everyone, this is the Mega Construx Pokemon Detective Pikachu Hi-Hat Cafe buildable set. Now it's released in conjunction or timed with the live-action or semi-live-action movie, but it's based more on the anime style. So the characters are still built using and designed using the same style that Mega has used up to this point, which matches what you see in the anime, manga, and games. This set's particular version of Pikachu, I think, is the better one with the big smile. Got a little bit of dithering around the edges of the cheek blushes there. I personally haven't gotten any Mega Construx Pokemon sets in quite a long time, so there's been a little bit of evolution in design for these, which is very nice to see. Tail is its own specialized piece. The back is rounded and has some printing on it. The hat is a separate piece, so you can take that off if you don't want it to be Detective Pikachu. That whole thing will come off, and it just leaves a small hole in the top of the head, which isn't so terrible looking. See, it just makes it normal. And this has the standard articulation of these with ball joints for the arm to allow you to move this all around. A ball joint for the tail to allow you to move that all around quite a bit. And because the tail is a relatively thin piece nowadays, you can actually pose this figure on the ground with the tail back. You don't have to use the tail actually as a kickstand like the old one. The original Pokeball version of Pikachu had the brick-built or plate-built tail, which was really heavy, so you had to use it kind of like a kickstand to hold up the character back there. And the face is also a little bit updated here, but yeah, overall it's a pretty good looking standard Pikachu. And then if you just add the hat on, it becomes Detective Pikachu, and I think it's done pretty well. Oh yeah, this is pretty important too. Well, first of all, moving the head around is pretty important. That's also on a ball joint, but the ears, being able to change the angle of the ears is really important for the expressiveness of this character. I think you get a lot of expressiveness out of such a small build. You can even rotate the legs around like that, so it's pretty cool. Now, Ludicolo here has to be one of the most unique and different interlocking plastic brick-based construction characters that I think I've ever put together. It's rather large, so compared to the Pikachu figure, quite rather large there. Of course, he is quite evolved, so it entirely makes sense. But the build for this is just really interesting, and it has different sections for the top and the bottom, so you can rotate to get this waist articulation in there, and you actually build with bricks and pieces on the inside, and then place these large specialized outer husk parts that almost look like large eggshells. It's a flexible piece here, and it fits over an internal skeleton that you build up to hold all the regular plastic pieces. So down here, the tail is actually built up with regular plastic pieces, and then the legs, same thing, and these have ball joints on them. You can't really articulate this realistically quite as much as the little little figures and little characters, because you don't have a lot of front to back motion there. It's mostly side to side, and it's so heavy that it'll fall over easily. The arms are stick-like, and they can be articulated all kinds of ways. You don't have elbows here, but still with the two ball joints with a lot of range of motion and the ability to rotate those, you can do pretty much anything reasonable with these, including, if I rotate this around, bringing this across towards the front. See, he's like saying, come on in, or something like that, giving you a thumbs up like that. The face is a separate piece, specialized piece, that you actually attach to the internal skeleton. You got a print right here, print over here for the other palm, and then this plant-like part around the top uses some interesting quarter crown pieces, and that I actually thought that was going to be like a hair piece, but it's not. It has a bar at the base of it to stick it into the center stalk there. But yeah, it's interesting. It's nothing like I've ever put together before, and it looks pretty proper. Mega definitely puts emphasis on accuracy over just reusing little pieces that they already have. So this is pretty good. Obviously, again, it does not look like the version of this character in the movie, the live action partially live action movie, but I think they've made the right choice here, sticking with the drawn style. And then for the Hi-Hat Cafe structure build, they've done just a bit of the interior, and I think this is mostly designed to be displayed, to fit up against the back of a shelf or the side of a shelf or something where you might collect a bunch of collectible things together. So it's not really intended to be a major play set. I think it's leaning more towards collectors of all ages. Obviously, this is the employee-only section back here behind the counter, and then this is just a little bit of the bar area for customers to come up, so you can put some stuff on there. Got a couple of things to drink from. The stool is able to rotate around. You can put Pikachu on there because these legs can be brought to the correct width, and then he just has to stand. And also, Pikachu can actually hold one of these cups. You just rotate the hand correctly. This is a standard bar size for the handle there, so that can be grabbed like so. Bring it right up, so that makes sense and fits in, ties things together. I think this is supposed to be a dispenser for napkins. And then in the back, looking at this detail, you got the espresso machine here, and you can actually lift these, bring them down as you want. A little grating down there. This represents a stack of plates, and there's another coffee cup there. These cabinets cannot be opened, so these doors are just for show, just to give you a little extra texture there. There's a sink over here which is open around the back. Almost has a ramp, so if you look around the back, this is really what you get. Technically, you could set this up to store some stuff inside down here, but there's just no way to access it from the front, unfortunately. But most of your detail is here around the front, including the upper high shelf with a very small basic action feature. So when things get a little crazy in here, just push down here, and it's going to knock that cup off. It just slides down directly into the sink, and that's where it gets caught down there. Depending upon exactly how it falls, there's a possibility it'll slide out, but it's very unlikely. I tried this a number of times, and you'd have to get very, very lucky to get that to happen. So that's just sliding off here. It's just moving a little bit, and there are some additional things up here with some prints on them. Always nice to see some extra prints. This color is this super, super bright neon greenish yellow color just going across the top. Almost looks like day glow. When you just have normal lighting on this, it really is extremely bright. And that goes for the sign here as well. Unfortunately, the sign is just a little bit on the transparent side, so it doesn't quite capture as much light. It's mostly around the edges, and you can see through a little bit too much, I think. It's a 328-piece set, and the suggested retail price in the US is $30, which feels a little bit high, but I think they intentionally priced it high so that retailers would immediately put it on sale, because that's exactly what happened almost immediately after this was released, like the day after. I already saw it at almost a third off for like $22. I think I saw it at $20 even at one point, which makes a lot more sense and I think feels fair. I wish it was a little bit cheaper, just given the simplicity of the build back here, but the Ludicolo is very large as one of these characters, or as these characters go. So that's actually pretty cool, and I think that it makes for a good little display piece, and they have other sets that will go together. It's too bad they didn't make more structure sets that you could combine together with this, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the set. I also reviewed that larger version of Detective Pikachu himself as just its own buildable set. You can check that out. And I also got the Detective Office set that I will try to review very soon as well. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.